If you are planning to buy a brand new house in Scotland, it's important to understand the new build market and how buying a new build is going to differ from buying on the open market. And in today's episode, I'm going to talk you through exactly that. Like always, the first thing that you should be doing is researching the market and getting an understanding of the recent market trends in that area and throughout Scotland, and understanding the house that you're buying, the size of it, and how that fits in with the local community and the actual purchase price of it. Consider when you're buying a new build, how far along is the development, and consider the local amenities, the transportation links, the school system, and the future plans for the development. And I've spoken about it before in previous videos, but using Newton Farm as an example, Newton Farm, when it started off 10, 15 years ago, and it's just exploded. It's got its own train station, its own school system down there, and it's turned into its own little village. So you can take these things into consideration. If you're getting in the early stages, you might get yourself a bargain 10, 15 years down the line, depending on how the market goes and depending on how the development goes. But take all of these things into consideration and make sure that you understand your budget and consider any additional costs that's going to be there. So when you're buying a new house, brand new, it's likely that there's going to be some form of land tax or stamp duty with the size and the value of the property. So take these kind of things into consideration as well. Understanding new build developments is important as well. So when you buy a brand new house, you're not just paying for a house like you would do in the open market. You're getting a house that's usually really energy efficient. It's customizable. So you can go in, you can get your own carpets, your own flooring, design your own gardens, and you can do that from the very, very start. And you can do it right down to what kind of kitchen worktop it is that you're after when you're buying a brand new house. You don't get this when you're buying second hand. When you're buying in the open market, you're typically buying off someone else, someone who's already designed it, even if it's been designed before they've moved in. You get the chance to put down your stamp in the property from the very minute that you walk in the front door, which is really, really appealing. And not to mention the fact that with any new build, you'll have the building warranty with it, and the building warranties will last up to 10 years, guaranteeing the workmanship in there. So buying a new build can be a really, really good way of getting onto the property ladder with a home that's the way that you want it to be, and a really good way of getting an energy efficient house. Everything in it's going to be brand new, so it means that things like boilers, if you're getting white goods, anything at all in the house is going to be brand new, so the upkeep of it is going to be at a minimal level. If you're looking to check out different builders, you can check out the House Builders Federation. It provides builders with a star rating. Builders over 5 stars are generally getting 90% customer satisfaction, so you can pop on there as well and have a look to understand what builders are ranking the highest. But it's important to understand the process when you're buying a new build, because it is slightly different. When you're buying a new build, you're typically buying off plan. Depending on the development that you go to visit, there may not be a show home in the design of the house that you're after. I would recommend taking a drive somewhere to view that house, if there are any within the local area, within proximity that you'd be comfortable with. The reason I would say this is it's always important to get a feel for the house, get a feel for the layout. Buying off plan's great, and you do get to design everything, but you want to be getting a feel for the house as well. And you'd find that the sales agents in the new build sites would be recommending that to you as well, and they'd be able to guide you and tell you what sites have got the show home for the house that you're buying as well. So take their guidance on it. But the process in buying is slightly different. What you would be looking to do if you're buying a brand new house is you would need your finances in place. So you would be checking your affordability, making sure the lender's giving you the funds, and then getting your mortgage and principal certificate sorted out. From there, what you'd be expecting to do is reserve that property. That's a financial commitment. Typically speaking, you'd be looking to pay at least £500 to secure that property. That reserves it, and then that puts you into the position where that property's off the market and you can move forward with your mortgage application. Depending on the builder, they'll give you a certain time scale. Typically, in my experience, it's around a month, 28 days. is generally what the builders would ask for. Now, this is usually flexible. If you can provide evidence to the builder that you've applied for your mortgage, the valuation's taken place, or just awaiting some information regarding paperwork, but as long as they can see the process moving forward, that 28 days is generally flexible. When you apply for the mortgage, usually at this stage we'd be considering lenders that would look at the new build specifically, because there's lenders out there that won't do 5% deposits because it's new build, or they won't do 10% deposits because it's new build, or if it's a flat that you're buying. So taking all of those kind of things into consideration as well. That's why it's important to work with a mortgage broker who really understands how the new build market and industry works. But when you get that mortgage offer, it's likely that your solicitor is going to be planning to conclude missives on that property earlier than what you would do if you were buying on the open market. The reason that they're doing that is because typically you're buying a new build. If you're buying it off plan, you could be buying 6 to 9 months in advance. And the builder wants to make sure that you're committing to buying that. So just because you've got that mortgage offer there, that's not the commitment. When you sign that legal contract, that is. At this stage, you'd be expected to pay something else. It's typically, in my experience, a couple of £1,000 or a percentage of the value of the house. But bear in mind, any money that you've paid for your reservation or the missives fee typically goes towards your deposit at the end when you're looking to move in. And don't forget to take into consideration that the mortgage offer might only be valid for 3 months or 6 months, depending on the lender. And if your property isn't going to be available for, say, 69 months, what you would need to consider is it going to be an option that you can extend that offer, or is the offer going to last long enough for you to buy that property? Often overlooked if you're doing all the work on your own. So there's some lenders out there that will offer a maximum of 3 months or a maximum of 6 months, but there's lenders who would be willing to extend the offer. Or if you're buying a new build, there's lenders out there who would offer for longer. So always take these kind of things into consideration if you're doing it on your own. If you're using a mortgage broker, they would look into that for you. I hope you understand that the process is slightly different from when you buy on the open market. What you also need to consider is the legal and financial considerations that you're going to have. Solicitors are going to play a huge role in buying a brand new property, and make sure that you understand the process because it is slightly different. They're going to explain the key terms, such as the contract's completion dates, understanding the difference between when you conclude the missives and when you move in, and helping you understand the reasons why. Working with a solicitor who knows the new build industry is key for that, because they can really guide you through the full process. What you tend to find is with most solicitors, as soon as you buy somewhere, if you're not going to be moving in for a long period of time, there'll probably be radio silence because there's nothing that needs done. So if you are buying 9 months down the line and everything's sorted, the missives are concluded and you don't hear anything, that's perfectly fine, because the solicitors are working away in the background on urgent cases and on cases that have got action involved with them. And as soon as there is things to do, they'll be back in touch with you. And also don't forget to consider setting up a snagging list. So if you don't know what snagging is, typically when you buy a new build, there may be wee things around the house that maybe needs a wee bit of work. An example could be if a tradesman is hanging a door and he gets shouted away to a meeting and he's missed a screw, something like that. It might not impact the functionality of the door, but not having that screw there could impact it further down the line. So little things like that, pick up on them and take that to the builder. What I would say is avoid going to the builder with one thing. So if you were to go to them and say that you needed a screw, they'd probably tell you to come back to them when you've got a list of things. It's always best to go to them if there's 5 or 6 things or even more. Go to them with that list and they'll come and fix it. I would reassure you that this is standard across all builders. There isn't one particular builder who's worse than any others or better than others. It's standard across the industry that these things are going to happen. Don't for it to think that it's personal or anything like that. It is going to happen. But you can also consider getting a snagging company in to walk around your house. If you're not familiar or you don't know what to look for, snagging companies can really help. So you can consider that as well. Don't forget to consider the additional costs when you buy. So although buying brand new, it will be customizable. You'll need to pay for that. So if you're upgrading anything in the kitchen, if you need flooring done, if you're getting turf in the garden, if you want curtains, all of these things are typically come at additional costs. So although when you buy on the open market, that's usually all there for you, when you buy brand new, you typically need to pay for these kind of things yourself. So when you're buying brand new, make sure that you're taking that into consideration. But that's it from me. I hope you found this video useful. And if you did, don't forget to like and subscribe.